Hi everyone, this is Marie-Louise from ML Consultants. I really struggled to get out of bed today. We are now 3 weeks into lockdown and we've got 2 more weeks to go in South Africa. When it started a week ago, I still had a lot of energy and I was still full of fun, making jokes and sharing jokes with my friends on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. But I have noticed, not only from my side, but also from my friends and my family, that the jokes are becoming less, that people are doing less. I have great conversations with a friend of mine, and every day we check up on each other. And in the last few days, our checkups would be something like, struggling to get up. Today I'm going to stay in bed. I just cannot seem to motivate myself. And let's be honest, this is happening to 80% of us. And the reason is we really do not know what to expect after the lockdown. And we do realize that life as we know it is going to be completely different. Yesterday, I got very pissed off when I spoke to a friend of mine, and I just wanted to explain to him that I'm worried about what is going to happen in the future with my business and of course just in general. And his reaction was, well, do you want me to build you a grave because you are so negative? And at first I really got upset, but then I realized that, hey, I'm not the only person that is feeling like this. Most of us are. And if it wasn't that this channel might be watched by children, I would have at this stage used a swear word to describe how I feel about the message from my friend. Yes, I understand he is just trying to help, but I also need you to realize that it is okay. We do not all have to be positive at this stage. We do not all have to get up, jump out of the bed and do things to make us feel better. In actual fact, it is not always possible. And to understand that, we need to talk about the fight or the flight syndrome a bit more, and especially about flight or running away. Do you feel that you are running away from your problems? That you should really be sitting down and thinking, what am I going to do when this is all over? But you just can't. Well, don't worry, you're not the only one. And hopefully today, I'm going to help you to look at how can we up our game a little bit. It doesn't have to be that much. So why are we struggling so at the moment? It's actually very simple. Your body is helping you to survive. In the previous session, we spoke about cortisol, and the moment that there's an excess of cortisol in your body, it sends a message from your body to your brain, which then releases neurotransmitters. This is the same when we are happy or motivated. So what will happen is the neurotransmitters are basically in this area, and it will send messages through to the brain. And the neurotransmitters that we need when we are feeling good about ourselves or happy or able to trust ourselves in the world is dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. I'm not going to talk too much about it in detail. What I am going to say is that especially dopamine and serotonin is very important in keeping us psychologically stable. And make no mistake, I'm not stable at this moment. I seem to cry at the drop of a hat. I seem to see things a bit more negative. I seem to be more moody. I was just visiting my mom, who lives right next door to me, and she said something, and the next thing I just took it out on her, which makes my relationship with her a little bit more difficult, and in turn affects the way that she can trust me and the oxytocin levels. So let me try and explain it as simple as possible. When we are happy, and an example of that is when we are in love, our glass is literally full. our dopamine levels are high, our serotonin levels are high, and our oxytocin levels are high. Now, because of stress at this stage, those neurotransmitters have lowered dramatically. And we are now literally sitting with a situation where we feel that our glass is half empty or sometimes completely drained. And that is not completely wrong. If we look at our dopamine levels, where it tends to be high when we are happy, it will now be plus minus halfway. What is interesting is that our serotonin levels will drop completely or will only reach about this part of the glass. And when it comes to the oxytocin, that has dropped completely. So at this stage, it is very difficult to trust yourself and to trust other people. For serotonin levels, it is very difficult not to be stressed, and we will feel anxious all of the time. And with our dopamine levels being that low, it's going to be very difficult to sleep properly, to concentrate, to learn new skills, and in general, not to be moody. So let's look at one way that we can increase our dopamine and our serotonin levels. Now, people often think that dopamine is called the reward hormone. In actual fact, it is more of a motivational hormone. It motivates us to get things done. Once we have done it, we feel good, which is the role serotonin plays. So what we have got to do at this stage is to try and get things done. Now I'm going to use a very simple example. In the first week, I would get up early and get the house spring cleaned from the top to the bottom. Now I struggle to even get out of bed. The other day I saw a brilliant video about Seinfeld, the comedian, and how he gets things done. And I really like the idea. So what does he say we should do? Well, step number 1 is we need to make a list. So decide, what is your goal going to be? I'm just going to take the goal of cleaning the house, but it can be any goal. It can be learning. It can be working on things to help my business to grow. It can be designing my website, whatever it is. Now you are going to divide your tasks into what would you say is the minimum you would like to achieve. So when we talk about the minimum, look at tasks that will take about 2 to 5 minutes to complete. Then my medium-sized tasks. Those will be tasks that will take anything from 10 to 20 minutes. Then the more difficult tasks that I need to complete to achieve my goals. Those will be tasks that will take anything from 30 minutes to an hour. Make a list of all of them. For example, my minimum goals: to make up my bed, to wash the dishes, to wipe the counter. My medium-sized goals: to vacuum 1 room, to wash 1 window, and maybe to polish 3 pieces of furniture. And then my maximum goals would be to wash all of the floors, to vacuum the whole house, and to wash all the windows. Now, the purpose is to do one of these tasks every day. It doesn't matter which one. That depends on how am I feeling today. Now you're going to take a schedule, and this is very important. Put the schedule where you can see it every day. And then all you need to do is achieve one of the tasks. You can do the same task every day for the whole week. It doesn't matter. The purpose is just to get going, just to do something. So, for example, in this week, you might have achieved only small tasks, 2-minute tasks. So in other words, this week I made up my bed every day. But you know what? I did not have the motivation to do anything else. That doesn't matter. Tick it off. Reward yourself with the check mark. What is very interesting about the brain is that before you know it, it will start saying things like, wait, I can just as well wipe the counter, which is a tick mark. Now, the way that I've done it here is I've done 1 check for my 2-minute tasks, 2 checks for my medium tasks, and 3 checks for the more difficult tasks. What the brain will do is it will start saying, well, you know what? I am up and I've now wiped the counter. I can just as well vacuum this room. While you are busy vacuuming the room, the brain is going to say, well, you are busy. Why don't you just vacuum the next room? And before you know it, you would have many more checks and you will end up doing the more difficult tasks. Housekeeping is a very simple task, but this technique works for everything that you are going to do. And every time you will reward yourself with a check mark, it stimulates your dopamine and your serotonin levels. I hope this is going to help you. It really has helped me. Well, this week I cleaned the windows.